Welcome to this episode of our podcast, Fear Less, Do More. Today I'm joined by Lyndsay Watterson, and she's the founder and CEO of NeoWalk, an innovative company. Today I'm going to be talking to Lyndsay about her journey and about how saying yes, embracing change and taking opportunities has led her to a very successful business, as well as some very interesting sidelines. So Lyndsay, thank you very much for coming to talk with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
I mean, when I first heard a bit about you and your story, I was just like, wow, how are we going to fit all of this in to the podcast? Because there's so much we could talk about. But let's start with your company, NeoWalk. Let's start there.
Yeah.
And how did it come about?
So initially, it was Neo York because we were centred in York, which we actually still are. And when I was a tiny company, it felt relevant. But when the company started growing, we changed it to NeoWalk. Because we ended up being global and it didn't seem relevant to just be in York anymore. But really, it came about just because necessity is the mother of all invention. So I'd lost my leg in 2010 and I was using a prosthetic. And sometimes when I was walking around, I found that I needed a walking stick. And the ones that were in the shops or the ones that I could get from the physios, they were all a bit ugly and a bit flowery and just didn't suit me because I was only in my early 40s. And I had this idea of making an invisible walking stick, which I would make out of clear acrylic. Because at that time, I was still coming to terms with a lot of body image issues and I kind of wanted to be invisible. I didn't want anyone to look at me and see me. So this clear walking stick was born. I made it in my kitchen, in my oven, moulded the handle round a wine bottle. And then that was my first walking stick. And I made a clear one and I made a red one. And I was going out walking with them and people were going, oh, love your walking stick. They weren't looking at my disability any longer.
Right.
And I thought, this is really strange. And it just kept happening and happening. And the more people that did it, one day I said, oh yeah, I've got my own business and I make them just to see what it felt like. And they said, oh God, I would buy one off you. Where can I get one? And I thought, crikey, there's a hole in the market here. And this feeling that this walking stick was giving me, this confidence and a bit of, I want to be seen now. I thought I can give that to other people.
So in a way, the creating your own walking stick gave you back part of your identity.
It did. It allowed me to express a bit of who I am, because I'm not shy and I'm not, I'm covered in tattoos and I'm out there, I'm being visible. And I wanted to be visible, and it gave me that chance to express my personality through a mobility aid, which I think previously to that, there wasn't the opportunity to do that. And I wanted to give that to other people. And that was when the business was born, literally.
So did you continue to make them in your oven at home? Or how did you?
I know, I upscaled a little bit. I got a bigger oven. And I was still making them at home.
Yeah.
I had a little workshop at home, tiny little workshop. And I was doing everything. I was doing any marketing that needed doing, a lot of social media in the very early days, sending them out, boxing them up. I was literally doing everything. But then as we grew and grew and grew, I ended up needing people to come in. So I started taking on employees, and now there's 9 of us now. So we are bigger than what we were. Still work at home, but I've got a purpose-built workshop and office at home now. So it's attached. So, some days because of my disability and my chronic illness, I'm not able to take part. Some days I'm in too much pain, too fatigued, whatever the reason is, but I can be at home and the guys know that they can still carry on working. So, and they know where I am. They keep tabs on me.
And you've got, it's family business as well, isn't
it is. I mean, people don't know this. I think when they see us, and this brings its own problems, when they see us on social media or wherever, they think we're a big business, like we're some multinational, and we're not. We're 9 people. Half of them are my family. I've got my daughter, my son, their partners. I've got my sister doing the books. It's all a very family-orientated business. We are still quite small, but we just work big, if you know what I mean.
And how do you separate sort of home life from work life, or do you not?
There's a door. There's a door that signifies work ends here and home starts there. It's a bit blurred.
Yeah, sometimes the door's half open, isn't it?
Yeah, quite open. It's open a lot. It's difficult because, and that isn't because the workshop's at home. That's just because I'm a business owner. So you never switch off.
Yeah.
You know, you're always thinking about strategies, success, failures, everything that the day's brought. You never kind of switch off. So yeah, I'm like, if you cut me open, I'd have like Neo walk, like right down the middle, like a stick of rock.
And is that the same in terms of keeping family life separate from business life? Is that a bit of a challenge?
That's a challenge as well, because you end up, the only conversation you have with them is about work. So you've got to make a conscious effort to say, right, no business, no work.
Yeah.
Always kind of sneaks in just a little bit, because they're so committed to the business. You know, they're so focused and they're invested in what we're doing, and they want to see it succeed.
It's a common passion, so it's bound to come into it.
And that's exactly the word. It is a passion, and I think they've all got it. And I just adore my team, and I value them so much. Tell them every day. It's like saying, you know, to your kids, you know, I love you. I just value you. You know, and I make sure they know that.
And I think one of the reasons why you are so busy is because you're now operating internationally.
Yeah.
You're not just a York-based business. You're all over
we're not.
place. So how many countries are you supplying to now?
I used to say 25, I'd probably say 35 now. You know, we've touched so many different parts of the world. We're in South America now. We do an awful lot more in Europe than we did over Australia, New Zealand, Tasmania. We've gone into, it's endless.
And how did that happen? How did you move from being a York business to an international?
Social media.
Right.
You know, I mean, and it can be good and it can be bad. In the early days, it was everything. That was how we connected with other people with disabilities. That was how we showed, because they're very visual. You know, the walking sticks are colourful. So social media was a great place to show them photographs. And then people started sharing their photographs of themselves because they're quite proud to be seen with our sticks. I should have brought one. I keep holding one, like an imaginary one, like it's here.
If somebody wanted to have a look, they could presume they can have a look on either your socials or on
completely.
On your website.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
But yeah, social media really, that was critical in the beginning. Now we've got bigger, we use a lot of email marketing, so we can target different parts of the world quite easily. Right. Google Ads, you know, it's all come. I'm saying these words like I know what they are really, and I don't really know what they are. I have people that do that. But yeah, it's a lot of social stuff.
And you know, you're in Hollywood.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I knew you were going to ask that. It's funny because I get asked for interviews and stuff. Yeah. And all they want to talk about is the Hollywood ladies. Vogue did an article on me. Can you believe that?
I can.
They did an article, Yorkshire woman, walking sticks. And I sent them what I thought was a really nice photo of me. They didn't use it. They used photos of Hollywood ladies. Oh, right. I know. And I thought, what a shame. But yeah, we are in Hollywood. We've got friends in Hollywood, and they are friends as well. We've got, I get these emails, and it can be any day. You know, it pops up and you go, oh, wasn't expecting that. Christina Applegate, stylist, contacted me because it was the first time Christina was going to be seen in public with a walking stick since her MS diagnosis. So we made something really special for her. Christina started calling me, we would message. So we're actually really good friends, which is bizarre to even say that. And Selma Blair, and she just popped up but she buys them one morning. I'm looking at the orders, Selma Blair, Hollywood. I'm like, no, that's a joke, but it wasn't. And she started buying them off us. We've got other people in, Jamie Lynn Sigler. She was in The Sopranos. She uses them. We've got people all over, and that has only given the business a boost because they're very visible. They've got a lot of followers.
Huge social media following.
They say, if Christina says Neo Walk, because they've got a podcast as well. She does a podcast with one of her friends. And if she mentions Neo Walk, boom, you know, we get a sudden spike. But the stick that we created with her was to raise awareness of MS and to raise money for MS. So everyone we sell, we donate money to US and UK MS charities. We like to do that if we can.
Yeah. because it's because this is, to me, that your passion comes not just from you've got a successful business and it's about making money. It's about addressing an issue that you yourself faced and helping other people to get that confidence back. I think the word confidence was something used really early, and it's about but people who end up disabled for whatever reason or who have a disability from birth, sometimes the thing that's holding them back is their confidence, and that's
I get emails every day that would make you cry. People that haven't left the house for 3 years because they've been ashamed. There's a lot of shame associated with disability, especially if you're younger. If you've got a younger person, say 18, 21, 25, whatever, they get abuse hurled at them in the street. You're faking it. You're too young to have a walking stick. What are you doing with that? You're putting it on. And it's tragic, because then they just want to hide away. So with one of our walking sticks, they attract more positive attention. So people focus more on the stick than on the disability. So as a person with a disability, that shift of focus is priceless, because otherwise, what's wrong with you? What happened to you? Well, what did you do to your leg? I get that nearly every day. It was one of the most traumatic times of my life.
You want to re-traumatise yourself every day of the week.
With a perfect stranger. It's like me saying, I wouldn't dream of it, asking something really personal. But people expect you to share your story with them. And no, we don't owe you an explanation. But people just don't think like that. So with a cool stick, they go, love your stick. Where'd you get your stick? And it just shifts that question. You
haven't just got a business. I mean, you, looking at some of the things that you've done, we were talking before the podcast started about tattoos and things, and you said that your next tattoo project is around the circus. Why is that?
Not everybody will know this, but I got an email back in 2012, early 2012, it was 2011, saying, we are looking for performers. All we can say is it's working at height. Would you like to come and audition? So yes, because after I lost my leg, I turned into a complete yes person. I would say yes to anything. So I said yes. I went down to London, auditioned. They hiked me up 15 metres in the air on a high wire, said do a few spins round. Do you feel confident? Yeah, feel pretty good. Okay, you've got the job. So they hired 40 disabled people, every disability you can imagine. And we were trained in circus skills for 6 months before the Paralympic ceremonies. And we performed in the opening and closing Paralympic ceremonies. So I was flying around on a trapeze, I was flying around on high wires, we were dancing in wheelchairs on the floor. And it was one of the best times of my life, because I was working with a crowd of people that I really got me. There was other amputees, but every disability, you saw people come in. We trained 5 days a week. It was torture, lots of physical training. I was in the best shape of my life when we were doing that. And so I kept a diary of every day of training, and I was battered, bruised, bleeding. One day I just wrote shit. Just that was all I could write. It was so painful. And but it was one of the best times of my life. Met some real lifelong friends.
So what kept you going through that? I mean, if you're looking at something and thinking, I'm doing this voluntarily and I am absolutely wrecked by it, what kept you going?
Because we don't give in. They were dealing with people that were broken already, and we don't give in. Out of the 40 people, none of us gave in. And I think they were kind of expecting a bit of attrition, because, people would get injured. We're already injured. We're already in pain. We deal with it on a daily basis. So we don't give in.
So does that sort of experience make you feel, how does it make you feel about your disability?
Empowered is the word. Not different. And we found a way of doing everything. The teachers, I remember my trapeze teacher, she changed my life. You can do anything, you just do it a little bit different. And that was how I then carried on my life after that. So I learned to ski after that. Never skied with 2 legs. I can ski with that in a sit ski. I learned to do that. I got back on a horse with a prosthetic. I used to have horses. I just realised that I would just do it a little bit differently. So the horse thing was really funny because because it was my left leg that I'd lost. So I had a prosthetic, couldn't mount a horse like you normally would. I had to use a step ladder. So this poor horse is stood there and got this step ladder and I'm trying to climb on it. She was an old horse, bless her. She was so patient. But I got on a horse again and it was just mind-blowing. I think that's what, if we've just had the Paralympics, you can see people just doing every sport that the regular Olympics do, that we just do it a little bit different.
So you were on Dragon's Den.
I was.
That was pitching.
Yeah.
Neo-Walk. What was that experience like?
Terrifying. Utterly terrifying. It was good and it was bad because in a good way I was really in touch with the business. I had to know so many figures. I had to learn so much about what we were doing to be able to go in and bam, 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 give them all the figures that they wanted. But also you come out of those lift doors and they're just sat there. You don't meet them. You don't get to see them before. First time you see them. You can hear them chatting before you go in. But lovely people, really friendly, really nice. But they've got this character that they just snap into.
Yeah.
And I'm about 3 meters away from Deborah Mead and she's so nice, she's just so friendly. And then bam, she's at you. And it just really takes you back. Yeah. And it's nerve-wracking. And I can understand how people just go blank and cry. I can totally understand it. But I didn't get the money, but to be frank, I didn't need the money at the time. I need it now, if anyone's watching. Stephen. But yeah, it was a great experience and I would do it again.
So what do you think you got out of that experience then? You didn't get the money, but what did you get?
Like I said, I was in touch more with the business than I ever had been, so which was really useful. Confidence, huge amount of confidence. I did it on my own. I didn't have anybody with me. I went in, I'd learned all my words and it was a huge confidence boost when I came out. I thought, yes, I've done it. And I was so proud. And I went into the green room and had to say to my gang of people, no, I didn't get the money. They thought I was kidding because I was buzzing. I was so happy because it was such a positive interaction with them. They all loved the business. I got great compliments from all of them. And I was just buzzing. But yeah, it taught me again that I can do anything.
And was that part of the, I'm just going to say yes to things when that opportunity came along?
Yeah, because they approached me.
Yeah.
I didn't know they did that. They approached me. Just say yes. I've said yes to some crazy things.
Tell me some of the crazy things that you've said yes to.
I appeared in a movie with Jack Whitehall, Bad Education, the movie.
Oh, right.
I was Peggy Sue, the one-legged stripper.
That's brilliant. I love that.
My dad, bless him, he was alive at the time, and I told him I was doing this, and he told everybody I was a prostitute. And I'm saying, Dad, no, I'm just a stripper. But I didn't actually take any clothes off. She was meant to be a really bad stripper. So literally, as quick as I was taking my clothes off, the audience was throwing them back at me. But that was great. Interestingly, when I did that, because they created me a peg leg, because I was meant to be like a pirate.
Okay.
So the special effects team created me this, literally a broom handle with on my leg, I know. And people didn't believe that I only had one leg. I had people coming up to me saying, how do they make it look like you've only got one leg? And I went, because I have only got one leg. And there was so many people that said that. Now, I don't know what that signifies, whether it just, because people look at people with disabilities and you're always seen a bit less than. And I think they couldn't believe they'd actually got somebody with a disability to come and do it.
Just popping in to say, if you are enjoying the conversation so far and want to make sure you keep up to date with other episodes, then please hit follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. Let's jump back into the conversation now. I think to me it's brilliant. It challenges the perceptions that disabled people can't do things. There was a brilliant advert, and I can't remember who put it together, with a Down syndrome woman who was talking about, you think I can't do this, but I can.
Yes.
Showcasing.
I remember that.
All of those things that challenge those perceptions. And it's so powerful, I think, for people who have no experience of disability to meet people with disabilities and have that.
Because a lot of people haven't. A lot of people have gone through life without disability touching their lives. And do you know what? disability is a great leveller. It's the one thing that can happen to any one of us at any time. And you speak to people who've gained disability through life, or they've been born with it, like me. I got my main disability when I was in my early 40s. I've had arthritis since I was 14, so I've kind of grown up with it and gone through my life with it. Yeah. And I've acquired so many other chronic illnesses along the way. It's like carrying a shopping bag, just keep putting another one in, it's fine, we'll deal with it. But a lot of people have gone through life without encountering it. So they don't know how to talk to people with a disability. Do I ignore it? Can I make a joke about it? Can I say anything about it? And of course you can. I've sat in the front row of comedy gigs with a prosthetic on, very visible. And the comedian, pretty vicious comedian, and he was making fun of people to my left, people to my right, and he never touched me. And I went to him afterwards and said, "Why didn't you?" And he said, "I didn't think I could. I didn't know that I could." And I thought, well, that's us being treated differently. Again, that's like a very able, you'll hear people talk about ableism and ableist views. I think he was just frightened. I think he was frightened he would get cancelled for making a joke about the one-legged woman, But we're just the same. We are just the same. And I think people don't realise that. I
think you pinpointed it there. There's a huge amount of fear, isn't there, around saying the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing. We're in the middle of what people are terming as culture wars. And I think people have become very worried about language and forget sometimes that there are people behind these things, these labels that we've put on people. There are real people there. And actually, if you have a conversation with somebody and you say the wrong thing, that person will go, "Oh, that's not great." Then you take that on board, that's fine. But everybody makes mistakes, says the wrong thing sometimes. But not everybody's going to be offended all of the time.
No. The most common mistake is if I'm with somebody and they talk to the person I'm with. Does she know a PIN number? And my sister will go, "Well, I don't know, ask her." Can she get out of her chair to sit on a seat? That's happened, several times. One time I blew my lid a little bit, but people just need educating. And I think that lays with us to educate people in saying, do you mind next time if you would just talk to me? No need to get angry about it, but there you go. Next time you go away and you talk to another person with a disability, you're going to do it better. So I think a lot of the responsibility does lay with us. If I'm putting shopping in my car, I'm single, by the way, so I go and do everything on my own. So I'm putting shopping in my car and someone will come and say, "Can I help you?" If I need help, I'll say yes and thank you. And if I don't, I'll still say no and thank you. Thank you for asking. There's no need to get, "Whoa, are you coming to ask me because I'm disabled?" And I feel a bit ashamed of the people that do that actually do take offence, because it's just being friendly. It's like having a door held open for you. People hold doors open for you, don't they? Yeah. People hold doors open for me. It's no different. It doesn't mean anything offensive to me, just as it wouldn't to you. Yeah. But I think education does lay with us, which is why I love when people go into schools and do like talks to kids. I did a few. I went and talked to it was a primary school. Some kids were scared to come in because they'd never seen a person with one leg, the little ones. Why would they have seen a person with one leg unless it's in the family? I did another one, and there was a lad came over to me at the end and he said, "Madam," he said, can I ask you a personal question?" He was one of the older boys. I thought, oh God, I don't know where this is going. If it's anything about what goes on behind doors, I'm not saying anything, but he said, "What did they do with your leg after they cut it off?"
That's quite a good question.
Actually, yeah. I said, "I don't know. I think he thought they gave me it in a big jar or something." When you have your tonsils out. But no, I don't know what they did with it. But interesting what they want to know. Yeah. I find that most kids, all they want to know is, does it hurt? Right. And when they know it doesn't hurt, they're a lot more comfortable with you. I get that in supermarkets, and people will say, no, come away, don't talk. And I'll say, yeah, of course they can come and that's generally what they want to know.
Do you not ever get tempted just to make some crazy story up about how you... Well, like a shark attack. I would imagine a lot of people would say, was that a shark attack?
Skydiving accident, something like that. Yeah, I could for the right person with the right amount of gin.
So, I mean, what's next? What else can you cram into this busy, crazy life that you've got?
So next is growth.
Yeah.
The business is growing. So we've got some strategies being formed that are going to put us with a bigger outreach in America. America's a huge market, 560 million people, and we've only tickled the surface of it. So we know that, and half of what we sell goes to America. So we know we've got a big market there. So we're working on having a bigger presence there. Plans are coming together. Just a lot of business growth, really. A little bit of time for me, step back a little bit, because I'm tired. Makeup can hide a lot of it, but I live with pain every day. I live with multiple chronic illnesses. So I suffer from a lot of pain. I suffer from fatigue, really bad. I need me time. I need to step back a little bit. And I'm hoping that the team that I've got can allow me to do that. Because, I mean, running a business is hard. No matter who you are, it's hard and it's consuming. And it's when you're passionate about it, it is all consuming. But when you run a business with a disability, you encounter more problems than your average able-bodied bod would. So yeah, I mean, I'm 56. I'm not getting any younger. Kind of just want to take a few days for myself and do a bit of personal growth. I've been a really hard year in the business, probably the hardest year since we began. We've encountered a lot of pushback on social media, a lot of negative pushback. Right. This is what I mean. Social media can be good, it can be bad, quite toxic. There's a lot of very angry people out there who, when they get behind a keyboard,
can say what they want.
And they do, and it can get very personal. So we've had a really hard year with that. A few instances where that's got quite difficult. So I've actually stepped back quite a lot as the face of the business. Right. I think people were fed up of my face. Do you know what I mean?
find that very hard to believe.
It's her again, say no. So yeah, it's been a really hard year. I've got divorced this year. That's taken a real toll on me. Losing pets, losing loved ones. It's been a tough year, but you've got to keep going. And people don't see this, and there's no reason they should see this, that it's a business. But when people do get in the attack mode, I just wish that they would think, there's actually people behind that name. Yeah, it's been really, really difficult.
I think you've got to there's a balance, isn't there? I mean, I think you're a brilliant role model for other disabled people who might be thinking about their confidence or having the courage to go and do things, but you've got to think about self-care and you've got to think about looking after yourself, and you've got to have some protections in there.
Yeah.
So what will that sort of time for yourself look like?
I love birds. I've got a cockatoo.
What's he called?
Blanco. 46. He's nearly my age, 56.
How long do they live?
He could live till he's 70. Knowing him, he'll live till he's 90.
Wow.
He's so fit, and yeah, he's great. I would love time to explore that bird world more. I've got dogs. I love going out walking, but I love taking them for walks. Fresh air, peace, quiet, bit of tranquility, a little bit of a switch off. Maybe pursue some creative, because I'm super creative. I started out being a hairdresser, so I'm super creative with my hands. I've always got to be doing something. So there's lots of things that I'd like to tap into and try and do. Upscale furniture. All right. Love doing that. That's in my garage, bit of spray paint. Love anything like that. But just to continue being creative, more family time. That's what it would look like. Nothing dramatic. I'm not going to go off skydiving or anything. I think those days, I'm not going to pick up a crazy hobby. I'm going to act my age a little bit.
No, I think growing old disgracefully is the way forward.
I'll get more tattoos. I'll just spend like every week in a tattoo studio. I would love that. They're quite addictive.
Yes, they are indeed.
Yeah.
I can completely resonate with that. And what is it about birds? Because you said you love birds. What is it about birds that?
I think they're fascinating, and I think it's because I don't know much about them, and I'm learning, and they're so different to dogs, because I've had dogs all my life. Oh, I've had so many dogs, and I'm so comfortable with dogs, and I know I can predict them, and I know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But with a bird, hence the plaster on the finger, a little bit difficult to predict. So I'm learning. I think it's just like learning a new hobby. It's becoming a hobby for me, and also I'm very aware that with dogs, I can be limited to how I can look after them, like taking them out for walks and picking up the nasty stuff off the garden. When the garden's wet, I can't get on in my wheelchair, and I have to rely on other people. And I still find that difficult. The relying on other people, asking for help, that's never changed. So birds, I can do it all. They're indoors and I can take care of everything. So yeah, it's just a fascinating. They're beautiful. Their personalities, because of course Blanco can talk. He can talk to me, so he's good company as well. He's I'm single. I'm on my own. And talk to the bird. He says nice things to me.
You trained him only to say nice. Yeah.
Some mornings I'll uncover him and he'll say, "You look nice."
Oh.
So I mean, what could be better?
That's yeah.
You set up for the day.
Well, that's what I always say about dogs, is that they're always pleased to see you.
Yeah.
You don't get a dog that looks at you when you come in like, oh, I can't be bothered with you today.
No matter what. Yeah. I think, and dogs know when they're safe and protected and loved. And I think it's the same with birds. So I'm navigating that world, but I'm really enjoying it.
Well, it's been. I could talk to you all day and more, because you've crammed so much in, and I think you're in. It's one of the things that I know jars with a lot of disabled people to be called an inspiration. Yeah. And you're brave and all of that. But I think your story is inspiring for so many people.
Yeah.
Whether they have a disability or not. I think, just that attitude of, I'm going to say yes to things, I'm going to take opportunities, I'm going to embrace change, and I'm going to do stuff that makes me happy. I think a lot of people can learn a lot of things from that.
But I think that applies to people with and without disabilities.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's that attitude of feel the fear and do it anyway, which is why I love your podcast.
Fear less,
do more. It really resonated with me.
Yeah.
And I think it's an attitude that a lot more people could have. There's a lot of opportunities in the world now. So many, and I think you've just got to seize them as they come along. You may never get to do it again. Some of the stuff I've done, I know I'll never get offered the chance to do it again, which is why I say yes. I think it's important. Step out. What do they say? You never learn anything within your comfort zone. You've got to step out of it. Yeah. And even if it's just a tiny bit, just a little push just out of there, and who knows what can happen. And things lead to another, and you open your email box and there's another email that you weren't, and it just goes on and on. But I think it's something that a lot of people could live their life by, not just people with disabilities. But I would love to see more people who are disabled flourish. There's a lot of fear of judgment. There's a lot of people expect disabled people to be a burden almost. And sometimes we are. Hey, I can be difficult when I want to be.
You're a person.
You're a human
right. Being.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of misconceptions about that. It's why a lot of people with disabilities don't work, because it's hard to get into the workplace and be accepted as an equal in the workplace. So that you get a lot more people starting their own business, a lot more disabled people. I think in the last 10 years, it's doubled the number of people who start their own business, because you're not highly employable by a lot of employers out there, which is sad, but it's just the way it is at the moment. But I would like to see a lot more disabled people flourish, embrace what they've got, not concentrate on what they haven't got. I would like to see more disabled people in the media, in film, being interviewed, reporting, not just on the Paralympics.
Yes.
Wheel them out when the Paralympics are on. That really annoys me. What about the rest of the time? And there's a few hardcore people that you would know, Sophie Morgan, Aid, they're always out there. But why not more? There's so many of us. And that goes back to the attitude of people when I did the acting with, how do they make it look like you've only got one leg? People just don't expect it. So I would like to see people break those expectations, I think.
And I think, government have a role to play in that, because it's got to start with creating systems and policies that ensure that people get that there's a level playing field and people can participate in the same way.
Yeah, and even access.
Yeah, I mean, access to work, the scheme itself is...
It's impossible to navigate. Oh my word. They promise you things, and then when you go to actually claim the things, they say they've changed their minds. That's happened twice to me. Unnecessary meeting. That was one of the... I had to go to London for a networking event and an award event. Won the award, National Women in Business. I won an award, a gold award. And then they said an unnecessary meeting. And they wouldn't pay to help me. So, and I'm really fortunate because I'm in a position where the business is flourishing enough that we can cover stuff like this. But imagine if you're not, and you know the knock of confidence when that's unnecessary. A bit harsh, but access to work is a nightmare. But in just general access to the world, I feel like I'm living in a world that isn't built for me. Can't get in a lot of places. A lot of places don't have ramps. You get in. A lot of places don't have toilets, and I don't know how they're gonna, how they think I'm gonna manage. Yeah. So you do feel like you're sort of an alien in a world that isn't built for you. And I know a lot of people have it a lot worse than me. And I'm able to transfer, and it must be really, really difficult for a lot of other people.
So if you could pick one thing to do more of, something that you have done before or you've not done at all, what would that be?
Am I able to do it? Am I still able? I'm able-bodied. I'd go back to circus. I'd go back. It was the best. It was just the best time. It was fitness. I mean, fitness is so important when you're dealing with like depression and pain, and fitness is amazing. Actual exercise, no matter what it is, can be so motivating. It was fun. It was creative. It was scary, being hoisted up like 10 meters in the air. And I mean, I did a thing in the closing ceremony with Coldplay in 2012. There was anybody out there that saw it, it was me. There was a motorbike on a high wire, and it went from the bottom of the stadium right to the top of the stadium. And underneath on a trapeze was this one-legged blonde with her hair flying in the air. That was me. And we flew 50 metres up into the air, and I was under this motorbike. It was terrifying. But I'd do it again. It was just the best. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing you.
Maybe I should be a clown. Do you think I'd make a good clown?
I think, Lyndsey, you could probably turn your hand to anything that you set your mind to. So I'm sure if you decided you were going to be a clown, you'd be
big
the
red
best
nose.
clown.
Yeah.
The new face of New York.
Yeah. With the painted on smile. Yeah, that's where I'd go.
Well, I'm excited about what the future holds for you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do next.
Well, I'll come back and tell you.
That would be brilliant. But thank you for sharing your story so far today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been wonderful to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed that episode of our podcast, Fear Less, Do More. If you did, then please follow or subscribe. If you enjoyed what we talked about in this episode, then you might enjoy this one here, which is also linked in the show notes. Thanks for listening.